So welcome to the All Pop No Culture podcast. I'm your host this week, Kevin, and I am joined as almost always by Pete.
Hey.
And literally nobody else.
It's just the two of us. Aren't you guys in for a treat?
Yeah, probably not. We're a pop culture centered podcast, mainly talking about TV and movies, sometimes video games, and we're here to put you to sleep. Hopefully you're not on your commute today.
Better than Matthew McConaughey on Calm.
Right. I've seen those ads, man.
Calm
dude, sounds like fun.
My wife and my daughters love that. And so, like, the other night I actually went to bed when my wife went to bed, and she's been listening to Calms to go to sleep. That dude's voice when he does the little meditations, like, is freakishly calming and soothing.
That's awesome. My dogs are going nuts. So this week I think we're just going to we're going to cover a little bit of Book of Boba Fett, and then talk about what's to come in 2022. Normally we talk about things we've watched, but for the first time in a long time, it's only been a week and there hasn't been shit on. So I don't know that we have much to talk about other than what's coming down the pipe.
Yeah, I mean, I know I kind of hit a nice little milestone. Soph and I finally finished our watch of The Office.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And that show, that final season is a little rough at times, but as a whole, having watched it the way we watched it, that show has as much heart as Ted Lasso in so many ways. Like that final episode is probably one of the best series finales ever, in my opinion. Like, it was a perfect cap the way they did it.
Yeah, they did finish it really well. I think realistically they should have ended the show when Steve Carell left.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that 70s show where they kind of held on just a little too long when really the person that was the glue left. And then this one's a little different, I think, because you would think by that point that Jim and Pam were the glue, because so much was centered around them. But it was really interesting to see how much it changed when Steve Carell left.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And Andy, like, my daughter and I were talking about this. Ed Helms was great as Andy, but he was really hard in that last season because the character's always been annoying. Annoying differently than Michael was annoying, but you could kind of love him or hate him, go either way. Man, when they hit that whole storyline where he goes away to he's selling off the family boat and he's gone for 3 months, and they do that whole thing. He comes back and he's just an asshole and you just hate him.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely hate Andy at the end of the show. And so the whole little, it is nice though for Andy that he does give you in the final episode, he gives you one of the most touching, like, memorable moments, actually, because he redeems himself. His little, it's, even though it's just a short clip, his speech at Cornell, but, like, he drops that one line. He's like, think about the good old days. I wish they would tell you, what is it? It's I wish you knew when the good old days were, like, when you were still in them.
Yeah,
It's like really profound there, and you're like,
I wish you knew you were in the good old days before you left them.
I wish you knew you were in the good old days before you left them. So charge downstairs to tell me, because she's already decided it's going to be her senior quote.
We can put her on instead of you. I mean, it sounds like she's.
You know what? We've been discussing that. That might be coming in the future, people. That'll be an interesting one. Oh God.
Yeah, well, that's funny. My kids are the same way. We've been watching. I started a rewatch of Psych a little while back, and then my kids started coming downstairs when I was watching it, and then all of a sudden they're like, now I am not allowed to watch it unless they're down here. So they're getting into that, and that's been a lot of fun. But speaking of series finales, I think one of the shows. Did you ever watch Superstore?
Here and there. That's another one of those. I think, like, it just when it's on, there's something else, or it was just an odd time that even recording it or streaming it, I'm like, I want to watch it because you guys keep saying I'm fucking Glenn.
If you finished The Office, you could probably watch that with your kids or with your daughter. It's very funny. it has its moments where it's not as funny or whatever, but for the most part, it's really funny, and it's another show that I think has a fantastic ending, and funny enough, not that different than The Office's ending, even though it's not a documentary type show.
Yeah.
But it's a really good ending.
See, we're that one. I'll add that to the list. We're toying with the idea of doing Parks and Rec because we're still on that kind of like drive. But what I want to try and do is get her to watch The British Office first because it's so short.
Yeah, it goes by pretty quick.
Like you can burn through that one. The one we almost like I'm on the verge of doing because I forgot how good a goddamn show it was. Randomly, since the girls have been home, there's a channel on the AT&T service called Pop Sugar, and it's got all a bunch of old shit, right? It's got like 90210 and Melrose Place and that, but it also has ER, and so they caught a few random episodes of ER, and so we started watching that, and we picked up a couple storylines, and I started like looking through the episode guide as I'm going. I'm like, oh my god, I forgot about this. I watched that show religiously and faithfully, and like I feel like that one is that show is worth another rewatch with time, because I caught like it had cycled through the what they had in syndication that they were allowed to show and started all the way back over at the beginning. And I was like, oh my god, this show was fucking phenomenal when it came out with Clooney and
Juliana Margulies and
Anthony Edwards. Like you forget like how long he was on that show, because like we just got to spoilers. We just got through the section where Dr. Bean dies and that whole thing, and like his I don't know how much of ER you watched.
Almost done.
See, I watched that. Like to me, that it's for me, it's up there with like the West Wing and stuff, of like those just phenomenal TV programs that like any hospital program you will, to me, is measured against ER. Like I like Grey's Anatomy. Like I watched ER from beginning to end. Like I'm almost positive it started in high school and then it finished, hella years later. Like, I watched Grey's Anatomy. Actually, Christy and I watched that for a few seasons. That show it just got way too out there with some stuff. It had some phenomenal moments and some really cool characters, but it hit a point where it's just like, this is just, it's too much of a soap opera. Like one of the things, if you're into like the hospital dramas that you like about the hospital dramas, like House. I like all the interpersonal bullshit that goes on around them, but I like the crazy medical shit that they have to do around it.
Yeah.
Right. That's what, like, okay, I'll admit it. We are the super cheeseball television that we watch all three of the Chicago shows. Med, Fire, and Chicago PD. They're bad. They're so predictable, but like Chicago Med does the interpersonal, like the soap opera stuff, actually pretty well. But some of the medicine stuff is a little like, you're like, that's really repetitive and really lame. Now Chicago Fire does all the cool like firefighter stuff really, really dope. Like all the all the rescue stuff and everything else. That's really fun to watch. But the soap opera side of that is just fucking horrible. We laughed because it had I think it was either the season premiere this season or the season finale last season. It had the absolute worst on air like love scene absolutely ever. It's the two like total like Boy Scout and Molly Sue characters that are like finally get together, and you're just like, oh god, no.
As directed by Tommy Wiseau.
It was might as well have been. Like it was that bad. Like you're watching it and they like tried to make it cool with like some music and like some cuts, but it was just awkward and stilted, and you're like, nah, forget it. And then the but then now Chicago PD it's just kind of laughable, and it's funny because all three of them are Dick Wolf properties. So they're all, like they've like Chicago PD and the others have had crossovers with Law and Order SVU
Okay.
at times that they've done and things like that. So those anyway, long story short, so ER, like I measure any show like that, against ER. The only one that I found that's kind of come close has been like House. Was really cool. It was a nice different take. It was a cool spin, like.
Well, House is Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Completely.
Yeah. Like, yeah.
Completely. But and that had kind of piqued both my wife and my daughter's interest because we caught an episode of that the other night. They're like, "Oh, this is kind of cool." I'm like, "Oh,
no, that shows." Yeah, that shows. I like that one.
But
we watch New Amsterdam. That's the only medical show I think we watch right now.
Yeah.
And that one's it's different in that it doesn't deal, like, it does have its medical things, but it doesn't have like that mega medical thing a week that is like driving it. It's more it's almost more the business side of the hospital, right? Like he's trying to make this rundown old hospital better for the patients, right? So it's not about keeping all the doctors happy. It's about like his phrase every episode is how can I help, and whether that's to the other doctors, whether it's to the patients, whatever, like that's the main guy's mantra. And he's actually really good. I really like him. He was on Blacklist for the first couple of seasons.
He's got like cancer or something, right? Or he did, like in the first couple seasons, like that was one of the
early on
things.
But it's a pretty good show. They just did something really interesting with it that I won't spoil if no one's watched it yet. But this whole last season's been building up to something that it really seemed like they would pull away from at the last second. I guess I'll just say it doesn't matter. Is that in the beginning of the season, he's been, from the beginning, he's been falling in love with this other doctor, the black girl, and which was perfect because I didn't dislike the actress that played his wife, but they just had no chemistry, and him and this girl had chemistry like instantly. And so like when I was watching the show and they're like, oh, she's, there's something wrong with her, I was like, yeah, just kill her. I was like, not in a, like, it's a shitty thing to say, but I was like, that's the only way, because he's such a nice guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, she needs to just die, because like the chemistry is over here and they're trying to write it here. And that's like, and so they did, they killed her off. And then they took a little while and these two finally got together, but she's British. And so this last season, the first half of the season, it was, well, we're going to go back to England. I'm going to move to England with her. And he's the head of the whole hospital. And he's the core of the show. And the show is called New Amsterdam.
Right.
And the hospital is New Amsterdam. And at the end of the season, they go. Like the second half of the season picks up and they're in England. And so I was like, oh, shit. But they're pulling it off. They added in a really great character, this little, this adorable deaf doctor. She's just fantastic. And
cool.
Yeah, so it's cool, and he's still on it. Like I have to assume at some point they're gonna find a way to bring him back. But they really went, which was kind of surprising and interesting. I really like when shows do things that you feel like they shouldn't be able to do. So, but yeah, that one's cool. And then as far as shit we're watching, I don't think we're watching anything.
Well, while we're on the medical dramas, actually, there's one coming out. It's starting soon that we looked at that we may give a try just based on the cast. It's called Good Sam, and it's
because it's got see that who's in that.
It's got Jason Isaacs, Sophia Bush, who's not that bad an actor, and she's pretty easy on the eyes.
Yeah, she was my movie crush after Van Wilder when she shows up in the end credit scene for like, not end credit scene, but the end scene, and for like 30 seconds.
2 seconds, yeah.
I was like, that girl's hot.
Yeah.
But I never watched One Tree Hill or anything. I have no idea if she's actually a good actress or not.
She's it sounds dumb. She's grown as an actress. Like she was on One Tree Hill, but she was also on Chicago PD. So I got to watch her. She was on that for a while. I mean, there's some depth and there's some range there, but she's still like I'm hot actress. You know, she's still going to struggle against type. You know, for that.
Jason Isaacs is so good.
Right.
I hope the show's good and it does better than his last one. He did a great one called Awake. I don't know if you remember that one. It only made it one season. It was him and the kid that played Jack's son on Lost, I think. But he lives two realities, and so when he falls asleep, he wakes up in the other one. So he's never actually able to sleep because he's living these two parallel lives that are.
Oh yeah.
It was a cool show. I really liked it, and I thought everything was really good about it. I don't know what didn't work for the networks at the time, but it only made it to one season.
Yeah, let's see who's Laura Allen is in this. It's pretty good. Who plays his wife? Jason Isaacs, Steve Harris, still a minute. B.D. Wong, always a great character actor. Wilma Valderrama, not bad. Oh, here we go. Oh, Cherry Jones. Okay, she's Dr. Judith Evans. She played, like a horrible. Oh no, she was in. I think it's her. She was in that Erin Brockovich. She was a really standoffish lady that didn't want anything to do with it. And Laura Innes, oddly enough, who is in ER.
Oh, okay.
And well, she's directed so much TV.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, she's the redheaded doctor with the crutch from ER. Again, you didn't watch ER, so that means nothing to you.
Okay, no, I know she is.
Yeah, but she has, like, if you go to her thing, she directs so much shit. It's ridiculous. She's got stuff all over the place. That's I did one I forgot. So I plunged into the kids movie realm this week. We took Stella to see her pick. Went and saw Sing 2.
I watched some of the first one. It was okay.
The first one was actually pretty good. Again, Matthew McConaughey is a small koala bear. Yeah. And you know, the only really disappointing thing about this movie, if you like the first one, is that they didn't bring back John C. Reilly as his best friend, this like woolly sheep. Otherwise, first, as far as sequels go, especially like animated sequels, it was pretty good. It was really, really good. They've got a lot of new cover songs now that they've done. Taron Egerton's in it.
Yeah.
What's her bucket? Scarlett Johansson. There's a bunch of people are in it that there's a lot of talent behind it. It's really Bobby Cannavale plays the bad guy, and he's friggin' hilarious. It is another one. Halsey plays a character in this, and she's got a phenomenal voice. I absolutely love her voice.
Yeah, she's actually pretty good.
She actually put on a character though for it. Like the head bad guy is Jimmy Crystal. He's like this talent scout in Vegas for his hotel. He's just like this horrible wolf, right? Well, his daughter wants to be in the show that they wind up bringing there, but she's a horrible, horrible actress. And like the way Halsey talks in this, it's done. She's got a career in voice acting if she wants one. Like you could tell there was some direction given, and she took it. So cool. It's a fun movie though. If you watch the first one, the second one's not a letdown. If your kids watched it, I enjoyed it. Taron Egerton's always good in everything he does.
Yeah, he's doing really well. Speaking of kids movies, did you guys watch Encanto yet?
Disney watched Plus? It last night.
Did you? I haven't watched it yet. I need to watch it.
It's really good. Things. Did you like Hamilton?
Of course. Yeah.
Okay. Then you'll like Encanto, because you could tell, like, even if you
oh, this is him, right?
Yeah, Lin-Manuel Miranda wrote a bunch of songs from it.
Yeah, his music has a bit of a signature to it.
Yeah.
I noticed the same thing with because was Moana him?
Yeah, there's a couple of songs about. Oh, yeah, You're Welcome. He's very good with the patter, like almost patter songs. Like right now, there's the one from Encanto that's blowing up. Is the one about Bruno, like Don't Trust Bruno. It's being played all over the place, and that's one of his songs. You can tell. But he's it's the little standout, at least for me. Like all the voice acting. It's a Disney fucking Pixar movie, so even if it sucks, let's be real, it's gonna be entertaining. I finally caught 2 weeks ago. My kid's asleep or the door's asleep. I finally watched that Good Dinosaur movie.
The old one?
Yeah.
It's like 5 or 6, 7 years old, something like that.
Yeah. It's bad, but it's still a Disney movie and it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Like you watch it, like I'm trying to. The problem is like I know Stella will like it, and she'll grab onto it. So I'm like I don't want to hear her because she hasn't watched it yet, even though it's there in Disney Plus. And I'm like, please don't bring that movie into my life now that I've watched it because it'll be on repeat. And I'm like, no, this is it's not one of those that like needs to be played over and over and over again. Like it's not bad, but it's not good. But it's still, it's like we joked around about like the Marvel movies. Even Thor: Dark World is not a bad movie, but when you compare it with all the others, it's like the bottom of the barrel compared to the others, but it's not bad. It's not a bad Disney film. It's just not good, on the level that the others are. So yeah, Encanto, it's great, but it's Lin-Manuel Miranda's paws are all over it. It's fun though. It's a real fun family one. The standout for me though, I started saying this, John Leguizamo has a part in it.
Nice.
And you'll it's neat because if you're listening for John Leguizamo, you'll pick up his voice when the character comes on, but he's not over the top.
Okay.
Like when he was like when he was a clown in the
in Spawn.
In the original Spawn, how even though like all the makeup and everything else, they did the like you could still tell it was John Leguizamo doing the voice because it was his voice in it. He's got just one of those super recognizable voices. You pick it up, but it's he sounds like a normal person, if you will. It's like like every now and then you'll see something that Tracy Morgan will do where it'll just be like almost legit and straight, and it's not like Tracy Morgan, and you're like, is that fucking Tracy Morgan? It's a fun watch.
Yeah, I have to check that one out. And then, like, have you watched Arcane yet at all?
No, that's I'm waiting. So I'm gonna take a few of those. Are those half hour or 40-minute?
I think they're 40 minutes. 40 minutes to an hour. They're longer, for sure. But the voice acting in it is insane. Like it's so good. But
I know that aren't there a few like there's a few like actual.
Haley Steinfeld is the main character. Yeah. The girl that played Cho Chang is in it from the Harry Potter movies.
Okay, yeah.
She plays a main voice. I think the other sister is voiced by somebody new, and then Kevin Alejandro's in it. I think the actress that plays the black like lead kind of character, I think she's somebody too, but I can't remember who it is.
Yeah, there aren't. I mean, I'm sure a lot of these names, if I looked. Oh yeah, okay. So yeah, one of the guys, Jason Spacek, is in it, who plays Silco. Right.
Oh, dude, that character is dope too. But it's just like it's so good.
It's really got me interested in watching it. And like I said, I think we commented on it last time. I'm really interested in it because I know fucking nothing about League of Legends, and I always love, especially with fantasy properties, because you always kind of, if you play Dungeons and Dragons and you nerd out on it a little bit, you always look at the way like different authors and different universes like use magic and how they organize these things and things like that. So I'm really interested to see like a new mythology and kind of like topology of how like this different stuff works, because it's from a video game I mean people love and play. Like I said, it's a freaking esport. Like I remember I watched randomly because it was on some chat like TBS or TNT or something, but it was like esports, and I was like, what the fuck is this? And I watched, and it's interesting to watch for a minute. I'm glad I don't like, I'm not a Twitch subscriber, because I could see myself getting lost in watching someone play video games, especially if they're entertaining enough.
Yeah, I have a few people that I'll watch once in a while, but I don't like hardcore watch Twitch or anything like that. I have a couple of people that I've like known and spoken to, and so I'll watch their stuff sometimes. But um, I don't know that I could let myself get too far into Twitch. I've got things to do during the day, you know.
Exactly. That's the thing. Like, it's not so much the people who do Twitch because it's their job. They forget they're playing video games, they record themselves, but the people who are actually like watch it live.
Yeah.
That I'm like, what? Like some of the feeds are all it's going off on like 2 p.m. Eastern time. I'm like, fuck, that's 11 a.m. West Coast time. Like, motherfuckers, I work. Like,
but they have millions and millions of viewers. For those of us that don't have whatever that it factor is, it's always confusing, right? Because it's just a person playing video games. Like, you look at some of the streamers that are out there that are like super famous, like even YouTube or whatever,
right? Like PewDiePie and
yeah. And you're just like, fuck. Like, my kids used to watch a bunch of them, and there was a couple I was like, you need to turn that shit off. That person is annoying as shit. But they had like a million. Like, there was one, a Flamingo, his name was.
Okay.
And I was like, dude, if I could find this guy, I would punch him in the face. Like, he is so annoying.
It's
and
like
my kid's like top volume. I'm like, fuck.
It's like what's his fucking son on Mythic Quest.
Yeah. You just have to be, your finger has to be on the pulse of what kids are digging right now, because that's ultimately who the main, at least the ones that build up the numbers, is the kids. And then once the kids are involved, and the parents get involved, and then that's where the money comes from, right? But yeah, there's something special about those people, whether you like them or not. There's something that they have that attracts people to them that's just crazy.
Yeah.
And,
I don't know.
I'm not a pretty young girl, so I can't do that part either. They've got the hot tub. Was it the hot tub streamers on Twitch that like kind of bent the rules, and they literally would stream from a hot tub and get a bunch of viewers? I was like, that's like your only thing is that you're pretty, but there's a ton of pretty people on Twitch that aren't getting followers. So there's still something about some people that
it's an X factor.
It works.
There's an it thing.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, frankly, it's like, it's the same thing with some of the cosplay girls. Mm-hmm. Like, some of them are really successful, and there's just a little thing that they have that you're like, God, in any other world, this, like, you wouldn't exist compared to these people, but you like took that one picture where you looked back at the camera just perfectly, and millions of pedophiles went nuts over your Sailor Moon cosplay.
Well, that was like one of the biggest ones on the planet. Her name is Jessica Nigri, Nigri, Nigri. I don't know how to pronounce it right, but like, she blew up from, I think it was like a Pokemon cosplay. Like, she dressed up as Pikachu. Now, granted, I mean, she's got all the equipment to look sexy and whatever she's doing, but there's a ton of girls out there that do, right? Like, she's not different physically than like a lot of these girls, but she had that one moment, and then she just has rode that moment ever since. It's crazy, because like Alex, you've seen his cosplay. Like,
oh yeah,
why is he not like,
no, exactly. I'm like, I looked at that and I was like, dude, that like, that was always, I talked to Sam about it briefly once. It always amazes me, anybody who can sew and create stuff like that. Like, that's why I think I love the one show I've watched with my girls, and there was another one, I'm forgetting the name of it now, damn it, it was on Sci-Fi, so I know you never saw it, or you may have. I think it was called Face Off.
Yes, Face Off. Yeah, it's the makeup one.
They did one, and they did another one where it was a cosplay one.
Yeah,
where they had these people like challenge each other head to head, different people each week, and it was actually pretty cool. But I'm watching these people just like, oh yeah, we're just gonna take this foam and I'm gonna glue it this way, and I cut out this part like this, and just do this and just do this. And I'm looking at, I'm going, motherfucker, I wouldn't even know where to begin to look up where to buy what you have, much less put it together. I'm like, I've never seen. I've built plenty of fucking missions and things like that, and I have yet to see half that shit at Michael's. So like,
it's crazy, and that's the thing now too, is that it's this semi-hard foam that you can folded bend, and that's what like everything's made out of.
Yeah.
If you watch those, and it's impressive, and they have Dremel tools, and they're fucking like doing all this shit. And I'm like, dude, I couldn't make a paper airplane out of shit.
I look at, there's some of the ones that actually get very impressive to me are some of the like actually the anime ones.
Mhm.
There's some that are very much just like, okay, this is just, this is the teaser for your OnlyFans page.
Right,
I get
right.
it. And then there's some you look at it and like the props that they build and
Mhm.
like the way they do their hair and everything else. I'm like, I have no idea what cartoon that is from, but oh my God, seeing you next to the picture of it, holy shit.
Yeah, I saw somebody do an arcane one, and I was like, dude, I mean, it looks side by side. It looks like it's from the cartoon, which is amazing to me.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, it is just a trip. Like some people get away with like the sexy this and the sexy that. It's just them in a bikini that looks like the thing, and then they're popular. And I'm like, that's to me,
Well,
that's not cosplay. But what do I know?
that's I think it's one of those things where it's like just a segment of cosplay
Yeah, yeah.
is like that. I think the people who kind of, I think there's also a level of fandom involved in that.
No, for sure.
Because I think to the casual person, like I could look at, Leia Slave bikini pictures all day long. It doesn't matter, I'm like, just keep them coming. Just keep them coming. But there's like you said, like the girls that are like in like a yellow string bikini and they've got like little ears and a little tail and it's like a Pikachu cosplay, and I'm like,
Yeah.
no, that's like something your nerd ass husband would ask you to dress up in one night. Like that's role play.
Mhm.
And God bless them, they've found a way to make money.
Yeah, dude, I
It's
don't fault them.
monetize it. And they're fun to look at. I'm not.
Yeah.
But I feel like that is like, it's almost like it's got to be like a different side of cosplay. Like, do cosplayers consider like some of the brony guys cosplayers? Because some of them dress up as like, Applejack and Rainbow Dash and all the My Little Pony. I don't know.
Yeah, those guys are weird though. Like I actually enjoyed that cartoon. My kids watched that cartoon. They're all boys, but they watched it at some point, and it was actually pretty fucking great.
You know
But
what? It's funny as balls.
It really is.
Sometimes,
It really is.
it really, really is.
So I've gone to a few Star Trek conventions,
Okay.
and one of them, John Delancey was at, the guy that plays Q in Next Generation. But he is also, I forget the character's name, but he is like the shitty dragon in My Little Pony. And he said those are the two characters that he gets asked the most about, and he actually gets asked more about the My Little Pony character from adult males than
Not
like
surprised,
anybody
dude.
else.
Yeah,
And it's fucking hilarious. But
I think the adult male thing, part of it could be a brony thing. At least for me, that's one of the things. Like I'd ask him about that because I'd be like, dude, I watched a show with my daughters. How did that come about?
Yeah,
like.
Yeah. Well, he says like when he was talking about it, he was like he's shocked that anybody even ever noticed. Like he just did it because it was a gig, and like people just rave about it. And he was admittedly great. Like he was hilarious on that, as you would expect him to be. He's a really good actor, but
Yeah,
it was just he's like I didn't do this show to be this character for the rest.
It was a paycheck.
Exactly.
Straight up, he was like, I could do this voice and get paid for it. No one who's watching this show is going to know who I am. Like, so I had randomly, your boys may not have watched it. There's a Disney show called Sophia the First. It's about this princess.
I know of it, but they didn't watch it, yeah.
So Bailiwick, the castle butler, is Tim Gunn.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So like it was one of those voices that I was like, it just goes to that thing of like how they cleverly sneak all sorts of little dick jokes and kind of off color humor in here and there into different movies just to kind of keep the parents engaged a little bit more sometimes. I think that was a total like, who we're gonna get? We're gonna get this dude because parents will watch it and they'll geek out on the fact that is that fucking Tim Gunn?
Yeah.
It's like Bailey was like, make it so. Make it work.
Tim Gunn.
Tim Gunn's fucking hilarious. Well, yeah, I mean, cosplay, like, not to bring it back around to cosplay, but here we go. Ready? I'm going to attempt a segue. Ready for
There you go.
So, the interesting one of the cosplays has I've always found, like, I feel like it's some of the start of, like, a lot of the cosplay is actually owed in a lot of ways to, like, Star Wars and the 501st.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that, because like people have always kind of dressed up for cons and things like that, but I think the level to which it's risen, I think you'd probably be able to chart, like, as the 501st grew and it's kind of grew and people knew more about it.
Mhm.
I think you probably saw more like, the bigger, more intricate costumes, at cons,
Yeah,
and then
because
having their own.
the 501st is all about the quality, right? Like you can't
Exactly.
be a member unless you meet certain very stringent standards.
Well, now, like, another group that they have now are Mandalorian Mercs. It's been around for a while too, and it's all different Mando armor, and it's like there's some really, really impressive stuff out there. But again, it's one of those. So, like, I'm like, okay, you know what? I could be a stormtrooper, but what the hell? This is something I could get into, and so I started looking at videos. I'm like, how to make Boba Fett armor, and I looked at it. I was like, no,
Yeah.
no. I'm like, I might be able to. I might be able to assemble myself an actual suit of armor, like Mandalorian armor, like, get that part done. Then it would come down to, like, painting it
Mm-hmm.
and the other stuff, and that's where I would be like, forget it. And, like,
Yeah, dude.
like, one side of the breastplate's already bigger than the other one. I
Yeah.
don't. I'm not there with an airbrush trying to make that shit work. It explodes, paint everywhere. Like, no.
Yeah. It's an incredible skill that I don't get. I would fuck it up to no end. I'd be like, that's not what it's supposed to look like. So, but since we're on the Fett with that magical transition,
Yes. Segued.
we're
Boom.
yeah, for once. We're what, 2 episodes in, right? Like, we haven't, the third one hasn't come out yet.
Nope.
And it's an interesting show. It's more focused on the between than the now, and personally, I kind of don't like that idea. I want to know what's happening now because I'm so in the now universe, having watched Clone Wars, having watched, actually, I just finished to get to Mandalorian and then Boba Fett. Me and my youngest watched everything Star Wars up until then. So we watched Rebels, and so we're in this timeline. And I was actually kind of okay with not knowing, how he got here, or at least I would have taken that in shorter bursts,
Yeah.
and wanted to see more about now. And so they've done some interesting stuff in that timeline, in that time frame, that they're kind of focusing on.
I see that. I'm just the opposite. I really dug the way they did that, and I think part of the way why you feel that way is because that second episode was all in that flashback.
Yeah.
Like, they did a good. I felt like they did a really good job of mixing it very well in the first one, where you got a little taste, and now we're here, a little taste. But then the second one, like, there's a little bit in the now, and then it's all in his flashback with the sand people.
Yeah.
Who, I gotta say, I mean, Favreau and Filoni, and there could be source material, there could be, that I just haven't read or something like that. But dude, like, Tusken Raider society and that whole culture and everything they've done there, they've, like, really transformed into, like, the beastie little sand people that we always, that you always think of. They're just the weirdos that kidnapped Shmi, that Anakin struck down, and they shot at Luke and everything else. There was never anything big about them, and now you get a glimpse into their world, and you're like, oh shit, like, these are some, like, crazy desert motherfuckers. Kind of shit. Yeah. And I really dug his whole thing of being with them and then having to make the gaffy stick, and, like, I thought it was just a cool kind of feature that they, a glimpse into this other part of the Star Wars universe that we got to see, that we, largely gets, I don't want to say ignored, but kind of pushed off as a side character. I'm really, really interested to see where this whole story goes with the two huts and
Yeah, yeah.
everything else. It's
Well, you know where they were in the now, where they were, like when they were in that that bar, Tashi Station.
oh yeah.
Yeah. So that was a
Yeah, the
neat
whole
little
thing.
throwback. Yeah. Um, but yeah, it's cool. Like the Tuscan Raiders, it's nice to see them get their story, and see them become a little biker gang.
Right?
Yeah.
I told Soph though, I said, watch. I said, give it if Boba Fett, is as popular as I said, in the same way that you can like go and build a lightsaber at Galaxy's Edge.
Mhm.
Now they're gonna have like you can make a gaffy stick. They're gonna have
Yeah.
that's gonna be a toy this summer. Guaranteed.
Yeah. It was it was really interesting too, because you still never see their faces under the
No.
masks, but it was cool to see them do the ritual with Fett, and then he did lizard cocaine about it and lost his shit. Like that was, I was like, okay.
I had a funny conversation with Soph because we were watching that, and I was like, because I could tell, like the minute they gave him the lizard, I was like, okay, this is gonna be some sort of dream questy
Yeah,
kind of
spirit
thing. I'm
quest,
like, I'm
yeah.
curious to how they do it, and all of a sudden the lizard like jumps up his nose, and I was like, the fuck is going on here? Because I've always laughed at the idea, like you look back through time and history, and now I'm gonna get all Andy from last week on us. You look back through time and history, and you got to wonder, like that first guy that ate the mushroom, or
Right, yeah,
that
yeah.
ate the cactus. Like you figure that out. How in the shit? Who was the first guy that had some magic dust thrown at him and then had a lizard jump
And
up
then
his nose?
snorted a lizard, yeah.
That like found out that magic combination would like
Help you find your
figure
whooping
out
stick.
space. Exactly. I'm really, really happy with it so far. Like I'm enjoying it. I don't want to compare it to the Mandalorian, because I feel like for me in so many ways this just kind of picked up where the Mandalorian had stopped, like in terms of tone. I mean, you could tell again, Robert Rodriguez directed the first episode.
Yeah.
And you could tell just with pacing and and how it went. I did think it was I liked some of the stuff they did with like addressing how he got out of the Sarlacc, and and how he got fucking mugged by Jawas.
Did you see the thing where they compared the opening scene to Patton Oswalt's filibuster?
No,
in
did
Parks
they?
and Rec?
No,
it's identical. They had to have taken it from his speech. Like if you watch it side by side, there's a video out there where they put it side by side with Patton Oswalt's filibuster from Parks and Rec, which was improv.
Yeah,
that was not written. Like he improvised that on set, and so it's like the two suns over Tatooine drop down. All of a sudden, Boba Fett's fist comes out. The whole thing is exactly the
that's
filibuster.
awesome.
And I was like,
I gotta find that.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic, because it's spot on. But yeah, it's interesting to see see him get out of there, and then it's well documented on this show that I fucking hated Boba Fett for the longest time, because he didn't do anything. Like he had this credit, and if you watch, because we had a week in between, and me and my son are always trying to find something Star Wars to watch when we can. There's a special on Disney Plus. It's called Under the Helmet.
Yeah,
and it's about Boba Fett.
It talks about he had like 1 minute and 64 seconds worth of screen time before this.
Like
I watched. I didn't watch the actual. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I think I watched like the trailer for it, and it has that clip where they're talking about like in the teaser, like how much time he actually has on screen, and you're like,
it's none.
I know, and that was one of Opie's biggest complaints always with Boba
It was
Fett.
Always mine. Like the only reason that he was popular is because he had a fucking rocket that shot. Like the toy had a rocket that shot, and that was it.
Yeah.
People are like, "Oh, he was in the holiday special." I was like, "Come on."
Okay, I've watched the holiday special, and the thing he's in the holiday special, it's not.
Like
it's a cartoon segment. Yeah, it's like an animated segment, and it's not even that good. There is something like, as I'm looking behind you, I get it. Like, of
He's cool looking. Yeah,
all the costume design that they put together, like, for some reason, there's something about that Mandalorian armor that just looks dope. Like, because it is kind of, it's paramilitary and kind of samurai-esque, but at the same time not.
Well, he was originally designed to be all white.
Yeah,
like
I saw that.
And
that's how he is in if I remember correctly, that's one of the things about the holiday special is that he actually switches color a couple of times. He's white in part of it, and he's like kind of an olive drab, like that he is now in the rest of it. And it's that could also have just been like the fucking 70s TV, for all we know.
Yeah, it's a good little video to watch because I think it's only 30 minutes long. It's not very long at all.
Oh, cool.
And there's not multiple pieces to it. It's just the one single standalone. So it's kind of neat to see and have them acknowledge that, yeah, this character, was a cool design that they didn't use, and then it blew up. Because like I said, I really could have cared less about Boba Fett for the longest time. And then I think the first time that I finally really gave a shit was when he showed up in The Mandalorian and just whoops the shit out of those guys, and then goes and gets his armor, and then the Razor Crest gets blown up, and then all that. But like at that point, I was like, okay, this dude's actually a badass. Like now
you actually feel like it. Like he's kind of in just that little time on The Mandalorian and 2 episodes of Book of Boba Fett, you're like, okay, it is. And I love that they have, made it to Morrison, like that he's the actor that they're doing. I think that was like spot on and classy.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people would appreciate it unless you've seen Clone Wars. That dude didn't do much before Clone Wars and before Episode 2, and like I don't think he has not worked since. Like he has been making Boba Fett and Clone Trooper shit forever now. Like it's been 15 years, I think, that he's been playing this part basically. And he's great at it. Like he was actually really great on the Clone Wars because he had to voice different characters that were, still the same character. Like he didn't really have to change much, but he still had to change enough that you could tell that they were different characters.
Well, he's been in a few things.
Yeah.
He was. Let us not forget. He was. He was in Dora and the Lost City of Gold, which I watched and is not as bad as everyone would have you believe it is.
When I saw the trailer, I thought it would look like fun. I had no reason to watch it, but I thought it would be okay.
So it was just randomly on, and so I said, you know what, I'm gonna take the spin. It was one that I keep meaning to bring up on the show before, but I was like, Opie's gonna kill me for this. It's actually really kind of cute, funny. It's not aimed at little kids. Like it didn't
look like it. That's the thing.
And they can have fun, but it is aimed at more like that tween aged kid, and there's a lot of really fun humor to it. There's a lot of irreverence. Michael Pena as her dad and the mom, like it's funny. It's aimed at 10 to 12 year olds, like right in that sweet spot. So it's if your kids happen to randomly laugh at it, like it'd be if it's on, watch it because your kids will laugh at it, but it's still fucking Dora the Explorer. He's done a few things. He was in here. I mean, he's what's his Aquaman's dad.
Oh yeah.
He's voiced a lot of stuff. He's done
a ton of voice work.
Oh, I forgot he was in Green Lantern. He's Avon Soar in Green Lantern.
Well, everybody forgot anybody was in Green Lantern.
I know, right? Oh god, that's one that I forgot where it came out. There he is, Commander Cody.
Yeah.
He was on the show Renegade with what's his bucket.
Oh shit. Yeah, that was the motorcycle one, right?
Lorenzo Lamas.
There you go. Yeah. Oof.
Who was in Speed 2, Cruise Control.
Well, that was a career launcher, I'm sure.
He's in both Barbed Wire and The Island of Dr. Moreau.
Yeah, he's been around. He's been
around
but
for a while.
Star Wars has been.
Oh no, Star Wars has been his wheelhouse. Yeah,
he has to have made a fantastic living just from this character.
Hell yes, get in where you fit in, son, and do it. Like he played in Star Wars Visions. I don't even remember which cartoon he. Oh no, I do remember. It was the one when they're in a band. He plays Boba Fett even in that.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, that one was probably one of my least favorites of the Visions. That one that show was interesting because it kind of bounced back and forth. There were some great ones, and then there's some that were just kind of okay. There's a couple that I want to see more of.
Oh yeah.
You know,
it's neat. And I found myself looking at it like that because it just kind of encompassed a lot of the different styles of anime that are out there, and they did them. They fairly represented, you know, a lot of what was there, and it was the same. And it was the same kind of thing. I found myself looking at it going, okay, the ones that I didn't like as much were the same ones that I was like, but I remember watching an anime like this earlier going, I'm just not in love with this style. Like the one, like the twin brother and sister, the Sith.
See, I kind of like that one. I was okay with that
one. The one that I really wanted to see more of was the one with like the lightsaber builder and where like the remaining Jedi get tricked into the temple.
Yeah. That one was super. It was like the 9 or something like that.
Yeah, I would watch a complete series of that first one. You know, the
samurai,
the lone Sith samurai.
Yeah, that one was dope.
Rolling around. That was just phenomenal. I can't imagine that was one though. That was another one that going back and watching the little making of special vignettes about each one of the Visions things is actually worth it because you learn so much about that process and how they approached it with the different companies. I think we may see. Well, the Visions 2 is already in the works.
Yeah, they're doing more.
I know that. And there has been talk that they are supposed to actually continue some of them.
That'd be cool. I would like to see more of that story.
Yeah,
that one was cool. And it was probably the coolest of all of them. Yeah. And then the 9.
The 9 was good. The Village Bride was also
that one was good too. Yeah, I like that one.
You know, or the 9th Jedi. That's what it was called.
The 9th Jedi.
Yeah. I went to the there was another one, the TO-B1. It was okay. I didn't like it though, in the same way I don't like the classic Astro Boy cartoon.
Exactly. Yeah.
Watch the I wouldn't say I liked it, but it was very much like my daughter was into the newer, revamped Astro Boy movie that came out, mid mid 2000s. And it was okay. It was fun. And it could be on and I could be hearing it in the background and I wasn't wanting to kill myself. So I was like, okay, this works. The Elder was really, really good.
Which one was that?
The one where there's the Jedi and the Padawan and the Sith crashes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was really good. And then and the last one in the series, the Akakiri, was okay. And that's the one where the guy comes back to help defend his wife. It's very Seven Samurai, old school. But this is Star Wars Vision. I know we talked about it a little bit in the past. It was really, really done. I'm actually surprised that it only got a 7.1 out of 10.
I think it's probably because of those intermittent episodes that weren't as good as some of the other ones. Because there's a couple in there that are pretty highly rated, and then some that are pretty low rated. And I think it's a little unfair because, it definitely, the way that it was released, it wasn't targeted at anime fans, right? It was targeted at Star Wars fans, and
Yes.
and there's a difference there. And it in some places it didn't really meet in the middle. Some places it was very anime.
Yeah, I mean, there's of course there is going to be a lot of crossover, but I think there's some styles of anime that lend itself to the Star Wars universe very, very well.
Oh, for sure.
Like, I mean, I would just like to see more of that, like that whole thing with the duel. I don't like that. To me, didn't like. I would want to watch that as its own separate thing. Like they can call themselves Jedi and Sith all they want, but I just like that was just cool animation, and just I love the way they put the story together. The one that the Ninth Jedi, like when I was watching that, I'm watching that, and the way they put that together, even though like none of the races you've ever really seen of like the alien creatures, they like made up a whole bunch of new ones. I looked at that and I was like, oh, this could be 2,000 years in the future.
Yeah.
Of known Star Wars timeline right now. Like this is your, or jump ahead. Let's jump ahead 4 centuries, and this could be something like that. Yeah. So I like that one. That one like definitely had, like, it felt like a Star Wars property in a way. The other ones, Tatooine Rhapsody is the one where the little band one.
Yeah.
And I get like it's a style of anime and manga, and a lot of people like it. I'm lucky my daughter, so like I have a couple of like really old school ones that I still love, but other than that, like I don't get a lot of it in the house. Thank God. Because some of it's just bad. Like I've tried, because I loved it when I was like, like in high school and a little bit, just out of high school, early college. There was some anime that I really dug on.
Like Ninja Scroll.
Yeah, like some of the Ninja Scroll stuff is cool. Of course, Akira is still one of the best ever made. All the project, like, okay, so I was actually, there's a I subscribed to Funimation for just a little bit, because I watched some Dragon Ball stuff, but there's another one. It's not Crunchyroll. I'm forgetting what it is now, and it's like Retro Play or something, but they had a lot. They did have a lot of stuff from the 90s. They had like Bubblegum Cry, Project Echo, a lot of these smaller things like that. Like they had the original Ghost in the Shell.
Which they have Ronin Warriors.
Oh my God, no! Because that was not an anime. That was like, I remember Ronin Warriors, and I always thought it'd be really cool if you could have like a Ronin Warriors Visionaries crossover. Do you remember Visionaries? It was like the King Arthur's.
I don't think so.
It was almost like King Arthur's Knights, but it was built on the toy. So it had this like, it was the thermal, like the image on their chest was like this thermal. So you'd rub your thumb over it, and it would like the lion's face would pop out, and then the bad guy, it was like a bat or some shit. And it was that kind of thing. But that's, dude, I remember Ronin Warriors.
Ronin Warriors is dope.
Yeah. I remember thinking that one didn't get as much play as it should have.
Yeah, it's hard to find. You can actually watch it on YouTube, is like the only place you can find it. The quality's awful.
Oh yeah. But like we were saying, so far, Boba Fett, I'm loving it. I'm really happy with it. We're only 2 episodes in. I'm really curious to see where it continues to go. Did you catch the I picked up right away that the mayor's major domo, I recognize that as Matt Berry. Okay. That. Oh yeah, so the Twi'lek guy that's like the mayor's major domo, that's Matt Berry, Selena Meyer's husband. From Veep.
Okay, yeah.
Now the chick that runs the bar,
that's Jennifer Beals.
Yeah, she I did not pick up at all at first.
Well, I did, and she looks fantastic, because she's 50 something.
Yeah,
and I was like, no, she's still gorgeous.
No, she looks really good. There's a lot of those Brat Pack girls, and a lot of girls from that day have aged incredibly well. Like I saw Ali
Yeah.
Sheedy the other day.
Well,
I
she's
was like,
on Psych. She plays a psycho on Psych, and she's fucking great. She's so
nice. Yeah,
awesome.
she still looks absolutely amazing. Annabeth Gish, same kind of thing. Like you see like photos of her doing press for some random thing. It'll be like a picture in People or something, and you're like, holy shit! Like she looks just phenomenal.
Yeah, but yeah, Jennifer Beals. I think her character is going to be
Oh yeah,
more significant because there was a little bit of hype about her actually being on the show.
yeah.
So I'm cool to see that.
No,
And
I'm already looking at the plotting and planning. I feel like she's the one that sold him out to the Hutts
that
in the
makes sense,
first place. Like he rolled in there, and she was like, do hyperlink. You
right?
know, like sending a message out to them right away because they were on. I mean, it's not time frame. It's hard to tell, but in theory, they're like they were on Nalhutta, which is wow, I'm feeling really nerdy right now. A pretty distant from Tatooine and the Outer Rim.
Mm-hmm.
Like Hutt Space is a little more towards Corellia, kind of on the other side of the galaxy, if I remember correctly. There is some
No one's
Uber
gonna
nerd out
know.
there. I don't know. No, there's an Uber nerd out there right now that listens to this amongst our 70 downloads that is going, you
Yeah,
fucker. You call yourself a
fucking
Star
nerd.
Wars fan.
You're not even a cool nerd. You're just a loser nerd.
All right.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm really curious to see, where Boba Fett goes, and then, where it takes stuff because 2022 for Star Wars is actually, I think TV shows is actually bigger than Marvel.
Oh, really?
Um, yeah, because there's a bunch of shit. They're definitely, well, supposedly my son is pissed at Lego right now, but they're gonna release the Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga, which is all 9 movies in one game.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
yeah, so he's pumped for that, but they pushed it back like 3 times over the last few years. But supposedly it's definitely releasing this year, and then they're gonna announce at the next EA Star Wars thing. They're gonna announce Jedi Fallen Order 2. And I don't know if you played Jedi Fallen Order, but that game is pretty fantastic.
No, I've seen some screenshots of it, and it looks really cool.
Yeah, I recommend it. It's pretty dope. But as far as TV goes, we just got Book of Boba Fett. I think they haven't announced when, but the next season of Mandalorian will be this year.
Yeah, it's that's unannounced 2022.
Yeah.
We do have the one thing we do know is in summer we're getting Andor,
Yeah,
which
we're
is the
getting
whole
Cassian.
Cassian Andor show.
Mm-hmm. And Kenobi's coming out this year too, which
Yes.
I'm probably more excited for that than maybe anything Star Wars related in a while.
Yeah.
The fact that they got him back, that they got Ewan McGregor back, I don't really care that they got what's his name back to play Vader because he's in the suit.
Oh, Hayden
right?
Christensen.
Like,
yeah, I give a shit.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. I was never really a fan of Hayden Christensen as Anakin.
Neither was I. That he was, to me, that was one of the hard parts of the prequels. Was him as Anakin.
I think the prequels for what it was really lacked good direction. They lacked good writing, especially when you got into the romance stuff. Like that was garbage. And then I feel like there's a lot of stuff where they went with the first or second take and we're like, let's, we're spending so much money on this. Let's get moving.
All right, we got it.
Yeah. Whereas like you look at Mandalorian and you look at Boba Fett, where you've got Filoni and you've got these other guys, they're getting big time directors in there.
Oh yeah.
That care, that want the emotion of the characters to come through. Like with Mandalorian, you watch the one that was directed by Bryce Dallas Howard. Like that one was
Yes.
that was very character driven, and that was the thing that they didn't get right in the prequels. And
No.
they got the actors were well directed in the sequels, and the problem they had with the sequels was that they didn't plan those movies together at all.
And
So you almost suffered from the opposite.
I will say something I don't know if we've ever addressed when talking about the sequels. And Andrew brought it up to me. He's brought it up a couple times, and it is kind of a representation thing, and so I get it. They really, really do tease Finn like he's going to be this like huge thing, and he's going to be a Jedi and everything else, and he winds up kind of just being a buffoon.
Yeah, they really screwed it up. They were really, because if you watch the first one too, like it to me, and maybe it's just because I wanted it to happen, but to me, it felt like there was going to be a relationship between him and Rey that was going to be something more special than it ever was.
Yes.
And then like they just threw in, poor little what's her name, little Asian girl, who I loved. I thought she was great.
Rose,
I
was
really
awesome.
liked her.
Yeah.
And like she kind of got the shit into the stick, and then the fans were a bunch of dicks and like almost canceled her on social media. And I was just like, dude, no, she was great. Like I liked her a lot.
I liked the character too. It was a fun little addition. Like,
and then they boned her out of the third one.
Yeah.
And part of that too was really unfortunate, because from what I read, she had a ton of scenes in the third movie, but they were all with Carrie Fisher. Yeah, and so she lost a bunch of screen time when Carrie Fisher passed away because
they couldn't fit it back in the right way.
Yeah, they couldn't edit it and do everything.
That sucks.
Yeah, it was a bummer because she was actually supposed to be really close with her, character wise, and so she never really got a fair shake either. And then we just ended up with Rey and Kylo kicking ass, and which for me, I'm a lot more open about the sequels than a lot of people. What I don't like how they flowed together. I don't think there are three movies that went together well.
No,
but I think each individual movie I like just fine. There was just a lack of symmetry there.
Exactly, taken as its own thing. What is it? The Last Jedi or the second one?
Yeah,
I'm forgetting. It's Force Awakens.
Yeah, it's the Last Jedi.
Last Jedi.
It's the Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker. Last Jedi. Lord knows I love Knives Out. Rian Johnson, amazing director. So wrong for this, because he and I'm sorry, I'm a little pissed. J.J. Abrams kind of screwed Star Wars fans on this. Like, if you look at the Star Trek remakes and what they did there, those were awesome. Now, granted, it's a different Star Trek than either Next Generation or the original series were. Like, those were still very exploration based, and these last three movies have really all been like actioners set in the Star Trek world, but they were really good. I feel like JJ kind of started with an idea and said, this is where we're going to go. I mean, obviously he did, because you look at what happened at the end. I don't think a lot of what he jammed in there was just retconning. I think that's where he envisioned it, and then when it didn't go there, he said, well, we're going to have to, this is where this was going to go.
Yeah, I'm going to take it back to where
it was. But I would have had a movie to do it. I think Rian Johnson did like an awesome, he made a good Star Wars movie. He just didn't make a good movie for the middle of that trilogy to kind of bridge that in. Like I loved all the stuff with Luke, and throwing the lightsaber. I loved his and Kylo Ren's battle. Like that whole, the whole sequence on the play was awesome. The friggin' like the whole thing with the casino with Rose,
that was a little crappy. I didn't love the casino stuff.
That was kind of like, well, only because they didn't like. I feel like it's not. I mean, it is and it's not a Star Wars way of doing things, but like, and they did it. They did the same thing in the third movie, where they give you this like character that's supposed to be this amazing guy, and this is where it was though, where it's a Rian Johnson movie and not really a Star Wars movie per se, on so many levels. They give you this character of I'm forgetting his name now, but the the guy in the casino that they're going to get.
Right,
Rupert
played
Everett.
by no,
Is it
it was
Rupert Everett? No.
the guy that always reminds me of Benicio del Toro, but isn't.
Yeah, say a little prayer for you.
Anyways, yeah.
Anyway, yeah, like they did nothing with it. You know, it was
Yeah.
like just this drop-in character. You know, it felt me feeling a little empty with that. Like I was like, eh. And then we get into the third one, and JJ tries to cram. Oh, the other thing that just like I don't want to say drove me up a wall, but I was trying to figure out like the why of was the whole like 1940s bomber feel that he was trying to give those like I get, you know, like I loved that, you know, Lucas based a lot of the original, you know, X-Wing TIE fighter battles, like they're almost like perfect shots of these actual World War II,
Yeah.
you know, or World War II, World War One, like, you know, fighter like dog fights. Like you'd see them rolling like this and um but like the whole I was like, why are these bombers moving so slowly?
Yeah.
Like what is the I don't that's the thing I just never understood, that like that whole play on that. I was like, that doesn't make sense. I again, like you and I more so than I think the other three, other than Kevin, actually, it's really just Opie. Um, really liked the other three. Like I enjoyed them. The second one, again, it's a Star Wars movie. I just think it's disjointed and didn't belong with what they were trying to do with the third. I liked how they wrapped it all up, but it was, I mean, it's very rushed. And then this is what I was getting to a second ago. Like they just dropped that the bounty hunter, played by, you know, the Noxema girl.
Yep.
In there, or no, not Noxema, Felicity.
Yeah.
They dropped that character in there, like she's supposed to matter to us on some level. And I'm like, okay, we could have used maybe some history in the past.
Yeah. And what, like I said, what was interesting about it is that it was all well acted. Like it was the stuff that was there was directorially fine. Like the scenes worked, the acting was great, the special effects were great. It didn't look out of place. It just, as a 3-part story, you can tell that these directors never spoke to each other and the writers never spoke to each other.
Nope.
And that's where the issue is with those films for me, because like I said, each one is fine for me. I thought it was a little, some of the stuff they did in the last one was a little crazy, but I'm okay with it. I mean, it's fucking Star Wars. I mean, you know, in Return of the Jedi, the Emperor, who is like the greatest fucking Sith Lord in the galaxy, zaps Vader, and Vader can still pick him up and throw him over the side. Like, so
it was the love of a father for his son.
Right. Yeah. So you get the cornball shit that you make work, and so people, you know, I don't, maybe have a higher standard now or something. I don't know. It doesn't work, but
God, we're just making this a Star Wars episode.
I know. Right?
I think again, just going back to it, fanboys expected so much out of it because it held such a special place in so many people's heart, and there had been no real Star Wars properties for decades.
Yeah, other than the Clone Wars cartoons, that was it.
Yeah, like the droids cartoons. There's like this, you know, a couple of little things. Yeah, exactly. Clone Wars cartoons, and so, you know, we got the prequels, but that was George Lucas's whole deal, and so it was like telling the story of, and so now we're like, okay, now we get to see what happens after this. This is going to be great, and I still say it's what the DCEU, how DC screwed up. They had so much source material that they could have drawn from that was already such phenomenal storytelling in so many ways, that I feel like it's one of these things that, like, if they had said, okay, we're going to take Margaret Stackpole and you know, R.A. Salvatore and a few of these other people who have written these books, that this is all thing, and we're going to say, okay, pick and we don't want to do this whole saga like this, but pick and choose some ideas of where this could go, and let's write some scripts and see what we come up with. I think that would have been a better way to handle it than the way they did it. The whole, like, in the books, take some stuff happens, but if you want to jump and like equal time distance, Luke has set up another Jedi Academy.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually going very strong. You've got he and Mara Jade have a son. You've got the Solos have 3. They've got Jason and Jaina, the twins, and Ben, and like the stories of like that family and the way those are written worked in a way that this whole like Ben Solo thing, angsty emo, it just didn't. Kylo Ren, I get it. I just didn't like it, and they made such a big deal out of the Knights of Ren, and we never really saw them.
Yeah,
like I kept waiting.
They got
like, where did
totally thrown to the wayside.
Yeah,
you got them in a flashback once, like that was
that's it. And I was like, what are we going to do something in the future with these guys? Are we saving this for something? Like, I loved the Imperial Guard fight with Kylo Ren and Rey.
Mm-hmm. That was dope. I love that. Yeah,
that was absolutely awesome.
I think one of the things that movies in general struggle with now is the whole social media thing too, because you put even a year between 2 films, and now fans are out there, putting out all the fan theories, and then people start to agree with them, and then when they don't pan out and they don't happen, people get so pissed. And that's like the one thing that totally worked for Spider-Man No Way Home, right? Is that people wanted the 3 Spider-Men, they wanted this, they wanted that, and like literally everything that people said was going to happen did happen. So it's like the one time that social media got it all right and got everything that they thought they wanted. And I don't think No Way Home was pandering in that way. I don't think they wrote it because they heard the hype. I just think that's what they were doing, and it worked out.
Yeah, I didn't feel like that. Like the 3 of them was pandering at all, and it definitely had the capability of being just utterly, total fan service, and it wasn't. It worked really well that way, which is, again, to bring us back full circle. What I'm liking about Boba Fett so far is that it feels like, because they've kept that team together, it's not the Mandalorian, obviously, but it still has that feel and tone and kind of texture to it.
Mm-hmm.
So everything that I loved about the Mandalorian, we're getting here in Boba Fett so far. I loved angry evil Wookiee that we saw.
Yeah.
Like, for half a second, that's going to be a fun one. I can't wait for that.
I need him to come back.
Oh yeah, dope. There were fun little things. Like they kind of had you, like, for half a second, you're on your seat going, "Oh my God, is the Rancor actually still in there?" Like, there's no way. Like, there's no way it's still in there, and it wasn't. And it was like, okay, cool. Like,
well, that was in Clone Wars. There's an episode. No, it's in the Bad Batch. In the Bad Batch, there's an episode where they go on a little mission, and they rescue a baby Rancor and bring it back to Jabba the Hutt. And you're like, I was watching with my son, and I was like, dude, that thing's gonna die. I was like, Luke Skywalker's gonna kill that thing, because it was like all cute and they were like saving it.
Right.
It was this whole thing, and I was like, they're gonna kill that Rancor. Luke's gonna kill it.
Well, that is another Star Wars thing that's coming out at some point in 2022, is a new season of Bad Batch.
Yep, Bad Batch season 2.
So I wound up I have to go back and watch it all, because I only caught like an episode here and an episode there, because as it was, the kids were watching it through. But Sophia wound up watching it all because she was bored one day and was just like scanning through, and she says they get a lot better as the season goes on. She said like, she said it's just like Clone Wars was, though, where you've got like those kind of middling episodes where you're just like, what, this is so stupid, and then it kind of picks up and you're like, okay, I don't necessarily care about the girl Omega and this and that, like whatever this storyline they're trying to deal with here. She's like, but the rest of it was really cool.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, cool, it's worth it to go back and rewatch that one. Yeah, so I'm interested in that for 2022. I didn't look a lot of stuff for TV that was coming out in 2022. I just kind of focused on movies here.
Yeah,
And
all I've
there's
looked at is Marvel and Star Wars. There's like 3 or 4 Marvel shows coming out. You got She-Hulk.
yes,
Moon Knight might be this year.
we can only dream.
There's another one that was in trouble but still on the slate, so it might happen.
I think okay.
Let's see.
There was talk of what they're gonna do with like they had, like, you know, we had Squirrel Girl cast and some of that, like they had,
Well, Miss Marvel is coming out.
yes, and that's gonna be a TV show. Yeah,
That's going to be a TV show because it's going to lead into the next Captain Marvel movie, which is just going to be the Marvels.
Yeah, Secret Invasion.
Oh, that's the one that may or may not make it this year.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That's got Mother of Dragons in it, Emilia Clarke.
Yeah.
And then obviously Sam Jackson and a few others.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting one if they can pull that off. We've got, I mean, you know, I would love Moon Knight.
Oh, dude, I'm stoked for Moon Knight. I can't wait. I've got some of those comics and read those. He's a very interesting, very dark character. It'll be interesting to see how they bring him in to the Disney fold, right?
Exactly.
Although if they are accepting
Deadpool,
well, not Deadpool, but Daredevil,
yeah,
in, you know, and in theory, in the incarnation that he was in Netflix, he was not a little cuddly teddy bear.
no,
You know, he was a badass. So yeah, well, I mean, we'll
we've got Multiverse of Madness.
Yes, the movies. There's 3 Marvel movies because you got Thor 4,
Thor: Love
Multiverse
and
of
Thunder,
Madness.
And Wakanda Forever.
Yeah,
Which I have a feeling. I think Wakanda Forever is going to get pushed.
I feel like that too because they've had their issues. I haven't heard if they've gone back to shooting or not. I mean, we're only a week in, but they were going to start filming again at the beginning of the year.
Oh no! So okay. So at least according to this, let's see. So from Friday, this is from last Friday. Is Wakanda Forever is slated for November 11th.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I'd rather have them push it and do it right if they've had, you know, their COVID issues.
Do you know who's playing Moon Knight?
Yeah, Oscar Isaac.
That's really cool casting.
Yeah. Have you seen? There's a mini. You have to find it, but there's a mini highlight reel of the Marvel shows coming up, and you get like 15 seconds of Moon Knight because he's already started filming, so he's in costume. Like it the way that it does it is like pans down this hallway, and there's all these dudes on the ground that are just beat to shit. And then like it kind of gets to him at the end of the hallway where he's like got blood on his hands or something like that. I don't remember it exactly, but he's a bad dude. Like he's not your typical superhero because he's dealing with multiple identities, and you know he's a crazy character for sure.
Oh, I'm reading this article. So we're also going to get on TV the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, written and directed by James Gunn, and they're actually doing it while they're producing Guardians Volume 3.
Yeah, so they're going to get everybody in there and all that. So that should be fun. And then Yeah, I had a Marvel list. I think I accidentally closed it, but yeah, it's going to be another big year for Marvel. I think Thor 4 is going to be the big one this
Oh
year.
yeah.
Um, I I really want to see trailers for Black Panther because I need to know what they're going to do with that, because it's such a bummer about Chadwick Boseman because he was so perfect. So I don't know what their plan is, and they're doing a good job keeping that under wraps too. So
One that's coming out in let's see, what's the date of this? Because we've talked about Uncharted, coming out on February 18th. Definitely want to see that. You've got Jackass. There's a Jackass 4 comes out in February.
mm-hmm.
You've got
I think
Uncharted.
before we started recording, I think we talked about the 355 too.
Yeah.
Which
it just came out this Friday.
Yeah, which we've
as of recording
this. If it was streaming, I would totally watch it.
Yeah,
but I'm probably not going to go to theater for it, even though I absolutely love Jessica Chastain, and it
I
looks
love
like
Jessica
a badass
Chastain.
movie.
I love Lupita Nyong'o. I love what's her bucket? The other one, Penelope Cruz.
Mm-hmm.
Diane Kruger's really good.
Oh yeah.
There's like it's cool. And
Sebastian Stan.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's got a great cast, and I think if we were in a different era right now, if it wasn't the COVID era, you're part of your brain at least is you're risking your life to go to a movie, so it better be a Marvel movie.
Well, it's another one that coming out next week on January 14th that I will wait for it to come home is Scream.
Yep. It actually looks really good too. It looks good, but I'm not going to go to the theater to see it. I think I'll see the Marvel movies in the theater. Jurassic World comes out, so I'll see that in the theater.
Towards the end of the year. Uncharted. I want to see Batman.
June.
Is it June?
Yeah, I don't know.
Batman on March 4th. I mean, it's gonna be a tough. It's gonna be. See, this is where the Batman. This is where Warner Brothers and DC can screw themselves. That cannot get a home release on HBO Max. It just absolutely can't. It's the reason I have not watched The Matrix yet. If The Matrix wasn't going to be out on HBO, I would have seen it in the theater. But like opening, because I was really excited for that at first until it really started getting its ho-hum kind of stuff. And everything we talked about last week has made me go, I'll see it when I see it. It's on TV.
Yeah. Well, I think it's only on HBO Max for another couple of weeks, and then it goes away and then comes back.
And then I'll come back. Exactly. It's, one that I'm actually I mean, I shouldn't say actually. We've got Batman on March 4th. And then also in March, Downton Abbey, A New Era.
Yeah, I lost Downton Abbey after the second to last season, I think, and I haven't gone back. And it's a great show. It's phenomenal. I've heard great things about the movie. I have to go back to it. I can't watch the movies without getting caught up on the show.
Also in March, I just watched the preview for this last night. It's a goofy, obviously, it's going to be a romantic comedy on some level. It looks really silly funny. It's called The Lost City.
Yes, with Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum.
Yes, it actually looks really, really funny.
But that's only in theaters, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I'm bummed about that. If it was a Netflix movie, I'd watch it the day it came out.
In a heartbeat. Yeah.
You know what it reminds me of, though? Did you ever watch Romancing the Stone or The Jewel of the Nile when you were a kid?
Oh, hell yes!
That's basically what this is.
Yeah.
But the biggest draw for me to this movie, and it kind of goes back to last week, is actually Harry Potter.
Daniel Radcliffe is the bad guy.
Yeah.
I thought the same thing.
All of his footage, I'm like, dude, I love him as this bad guy, right? Because he's a little funny, he's a little crazy, he's a little whatever. He's definitely not Harry Potter, and like he's very charismatic in the trailer. And then you got the little Brad Pitt cameo that looks fucking hilarious.
I saw that at the end. So quick interjection. Speaking of Harry Potter, the Harry Potter special on HBO, like the
So
20th
good.
anniversary thing.
So good.
You watched it too?
Yeah.
We finished it literally just before I took the girls out to look at the stars there. It was just, they did it perfectly. They just got the cast together and they just said, we're just going to talk about each film as they go, like, it was really, really cool to see all those people back together. Total glow up for fucking Neville Longbottom. Jesus Christ.
Well, that kid, but it wasn't. They actually uglied him up for the movies. Like, he had fake teeth for most of the movies.
Really?
And I think by the end, maybe not the last movie, because he was pretty lean in the last movie.
Yeah.
But going into some of the ones before that, they even put him in a little bit of a fat suit, like, because they wanted him to look like the character in the book.
Yeah.
And the character in the book was this character that was very similar to how he looked when he was young, but he was growing up, obviously, and you see him now, and this is what he was growing into, and he's kind of fucking dreamy right now, right? It didn't really work, so they had to do the fake teeth, and they had to do the fat suit, and they had to do that stuff to the character. But he was.
But yeah, that's definitely one to watch.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
Yeah.
All right, back to where we were, which brings us to April. April the 1st, we get Morbius.
I don't care. Like,
so I didn't care until I got to see the trailer, the newest trailer on a big screen before Batman, and it looks kind of cool. But I have a feeling we're gonna have to find yet another place to kind of slam Jared Leto into a franchise. Of all characters in Spider-Man's, little for lack of a better term, rogues gallery that they do, Morbius
is a tough character because Morbius is interesting or whatever. I think the MCU would never make this movie, and that's another thing that is kind of funky about it.
And they made
Guardians. He is an anti-hero, right?
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. I just don't. I know Jared Leto's work, and he is super intense.
Yeah.
And so I know that movie is going to have to be super intense, and I don't know that I'm down for that. Like, it's going to make the same mistake that DC makes. It's not going to have enough humor in it.
Nope.
Or they're going to go, on the opposite with Venom, where they made it too funny. Like, they tried to make it too funny. Yeah, I'll watch it when it comes out on video. Same with Venom 2. I haven't watched Venom 2. I'm waiting for it to come out on video.
Same. Absolute same.
And I'll do the same thing with Morbius. Like, I'm not going to see it in the theater.
No, I have no desire to see that movie in the theater, and I'd be willing to guarantee you, it's when it comes out, it's going to be the horrible Rotten Tomatoes ratings.
But it'll still make its money. Just like Venom did. It'll make its money.
It'll make its money because they're going to have, it's going to leak out that there's going to be some special guest something somewhere in it, or there's going to be something special that ties it together.
Yeah.
With something else, and it'll make people want to go and see it just for like a 20-second post-credit scene.
Well, the big rumor right now, with no basis to it, really, is that they're trying to bring Andrew Garfield back for the Sony films. So we'll see what happens there.
Why?
Why not? Why not make the money? That's what it comes down to. But after April...
speaking of making the money, on April 8th, we got Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Yeah, I enjoyed the first one. I won't go see it in the theater.
No.
But I'll see it when it streams. I'll watch it when it streams. Like, I might even watch it the first day it streams. It was fun.
And then on April 15th, we have the next in the Fantastic Beasts series, the final of that trilogy, The Secrets of Dumbledore, which we're excited in my house for it because we like the first two, so we're ready for the conclusion of that whole storyline, and where that's gone. The Northman, which I had heard nothing about. on April 22nd.
Oh yeah. I think I've only seen like one trailer for it, but the description I read of it, I was like, okay,
Looks
I'll
savage.
see that at some point.
It's some Viking shit. Alex, yeah,
Yep.
Alex, I have a feeling is going to be all over that one.
Yeah.
And there's another one called Disappointment Boulevard, which it doesn't tell you exactly what it's about. It's an intimate, decade-spanning portrait of one of the most successful entrepreneurs of all time. I mean, it's got Joaquin Phoenix, Meryl Streep, Parker Posey, Patti LuPone.
It's a great cast. Who's directing?
Yeah. Ari Aster, the Hereditary and Midsommar.
Okay.
Yeah, and one of the big things with this one is that it's her cinematographer Paweł Pogorzelski, the Polish guy, for the third time. So it's going to be the same, the two of them working on this together. So that looks like it could be a cool movie. No idea what it's about.
Yeah. Okay.
Which leads us into May and Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness.
That's gonna be cool. I'm ready for that one. That one I will go see in the theater.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see if there is a big tie-in, with the what if thing, with like the idea of a dark Doctor Strange, because there's a couple of things that we've seen.
Yeah.
But we know Elizabeth, we know Wanda's in it, we know Wong is in it. And apparently a new character, America Chavez.
Yeah, America Chavez is going to be she in the comics apparently can kick open doors to other realities. That's her thing. So
yes, and apparently they will battle otherworldly monsters and an evil version of Doctor Strange. So double your Bender Flop Cumber Flimp.
Yeah. I'm ready for that one. I've been ready for that one for a while. And it's Sam Raimi, right?
Yep. Yeah. So that should be really good.
Yeah.
Which brings us to May 20th, and a movie that I don't think needed to be made. Legally Blonde 3 comes out.
Yeah, dude, I saw that on the sheet. I didn't even know that was being made.
Yeah, well, because they've kept plot details are being kept very secret. Yeah. The interesting thing for it, though, the only thing that makes me go, okay, maybe this could be a fun movie if you like the Legally Blonde movies. The first one was funny.
I love the first one.
The second one was a turd.
Yeah.
But it's Mindy Kaling and Dan Gore are writing the script for it.
Oh, okay.
So that's
interesting.
Yeah, I'm like, it could be a fun look there. But May 27th, baby. Top Gun sequel will finally be out.
I don't know. I hope that goes to HBO. I probably won't go see that in the theater either.
It's tough because I really like Miles Teller.
Yeah,
and he's, and that's Rooster, son of Goose. So it's this film, it sucks because this film has been on a shelf forever now.
I think it would have benefited from dropping last year when it was supposed to.
Yeah, I think, but they're supposedly it's only theatrical release. Which
I'm sure it is.
Part of me's kind of on board with, because a movie like that, part of the fun is the the dogfighting scenes, and shit like that's always better on a big screen.
Mm-hmm.
Then we've got June 10th. There we go. Jurassic Dominion.
World. Yeah.
Jurassic World Dominion. Yeah, this is and Colin Trevorrow is back for the third installment.
Yeah, I don't expect it to be great.
Sam Neill, Laura Dern, and Jeff Goldblum are all going to be in it.
Everybody's back.
Hopefully, it will be the last of these movies until we get the super hyper post-apocalyptic one where it's humans and dinosaurs battling each other on the
Jurassic Galaxy.
Exactly, that'll be interesting. That I'll be on board with. I'll go see it in the theater probably just for fun, just because it's the dinosaurs, it's the scope.
Yeah.
Then, and interestingly, June 17th, Lightyear,
yeah,
that looks really good.
Yeah, I'm really curious about that. I think I don't know if I'll go see it in the theater, but if it's on the Disney Plus, like where you pay $30 to watch it at home,
I'll
I
probably
might
do that.
actually
Yeah.
do that. Yeah. Because that I would watch with the kids, but I don't necessarily need to see it on the big screen. Yeah. And
Yeah. Later in June, then we got another movie. I had no idea this was even coming out. I never even heard of it. There's it's Elvis, and it's
yeah, who's
a
playing
Baz
him?
Luhrmann, somebody named
Yeah, that's
Austin
right.
Butler.
That's right.
I have no idea who Austin Butler is, but Tom Hanks is Colonel Tom Parker, and it's a Baz Luhrmann directed deal. So it promises to be, if nothing else, visually interesting.
Yeah.
Let's see. Interesting. Oh, see, I bet this gets delayed because I'm just trying to get some stuff on. Oh no, still saying June 21st. So Austin Butler. Let's see.
Yeah, I don't know who he is.
So I'm trying to figure out like what else this guy has been in. Okay, so he was Tex Watson in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Okay.
He's been in some little things, like he was in the Shannara Chronicles, which was horrible. Yoga Hosers. He played Chase on Arrow.
Okay.
Yeah, he's been in a few TV shows here and there. So he's young, pretty, guy there. But it's got a lot of people who I'm not sure who these people are. Interesting. It's got, I mean, I don't want to say unknown because I recognize some of the names and faces a little bit, but I couldn't tell you where from. But it's a very interesting looking cast with not a lot of big names in it. In fact, really, it's just Tom Hanks. Should be interesting.
Yeah.
Minions Rise of Guru on July 1st. Enjoy with your kids. July 8th, Thor, Love and Thunder.
Yeah, I'll be in the theater for that one.
Hell yes. Natalie Portman's coming back.
Ugh. Yeah, as Lady Thor, or just Thor, actually.
And so Christian Bale is the villain, Gore the God Butcher, who I actually had to look up because I knew nothing.
I know the name, but I don't know his.
It's just this whole thing with this world that he lived on. It'll be interesting to see what they do with it. Because he's basically just a guy that is out to kill gods.
Yeah.
These god-like characters. And he's like ancient old. This whole thing, the black necro sword. Anyway, it could be. It's a very interesting choice for a villain. I'm very curious to see what they do with it.
But I have full faith in Taika Waititi. So
completely.
Yeah.
We got then some movie called Bullet Train on July 15th.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's Brad Pitt and some other people in it. It's set on a Japanese bullet train where 5 assassins discover their missions are all connected.
Oh.
Oddly enough, followed by a movie called Nope, which is what I'm saying. Jordan Peele returns with a no plot, but he got Daniel Kaluuya, Kiki Palmer, and Steven Yeun.
I've heard of this. Yeah.
But we've got nothing out yet that says what it's about. July 29th, baby, Black Adam.
Yeah, I don't think I'll see that in the theater either.
No desire.
I'm on the fence unless I see a trailer that really blows me away.
Yeah,
I'm probably not going to see it in the theater. I'm burning out on The Rock a little bit.
I never thought I'd say the same thing, but yeah.
Yeah, I like him, but he's
fucking everywhere,
and he's gotten a little big for his britches. He's got the big spat with Vin Diesel, big over the Fast and Furious movies, which I haven't seen any of the recent ones, but I'm like, dude, just make your shit. He's and I do. I like The Rock. I enjoyed the river cruise or whatever the hell it was, Jungle Cruise. I like that just fine. I generally like his stuff, but I'm if he took a year off, I'd be okay.
Yeah. Well, there's the interesting one here that they are showing now that they're adding is they're introducing the Justice Society of America, which has like Dr.
Oh, okay.
Light,
Yeah,
played by
yeah.
Pierce
Which is
Brosnan.
Pierce Brosnan, right? Yeah.
Sarah Shahi is in this as
Oh, I love
Isis. You got Aldous Hodge, who you'd recognize the face. I couldn't tell you
Yep.
anything he's in right now.
He's a black guy. Yeah, he's
as Hawkman. Noah Centineo,
I know that
who is he's like one of these young teen actors. He's been okay. I know this kid. So he was in that new horrible Charlie's Angels movie.
Oh, I need to remember that.
Yeah, but he is playing Atom Smasher.
Okay.
So there's okay. I'm a little, again, like you, I got to see a. And Cyclone, Quintessa Swindell is playing Cyclone.
Okay.
Like this cast looks cool enough, and like the characters that they're adding here make me say, show me a good trailer, I might be interested. But I'm kind of like you, where I don't know if I need to see this one in the theater. Like I didn't see Shazam in the theater, and I'm not the worst for it.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one. At least that one was okay for my kids. I don't feel like Black Adam is really.
No, exactly.
Feel like what I want to take my kids to.
No, and I feel like I honestly feel like they're only making Black Adam because they made Shazam.
Well, yeah, and The Rock has pushed for it forever because, to be honest, like for as much as I'm over The Rock, like he is the perfect casting for Black Adam.
Oh yeah,
he looks exactly like Black Adam from the comic books.
Get an eyebrow raise and everything. Really perfect.
Yeah. Just give him a good widow speak, and you're good to go.
Oh my God! Here we go. September 30th, the movie you didn't know you wanted and you were pretty sure they weren't going to make, but they did anyway. Mission Impossible 7.
Yeah, but it's got Haley Atwell in it, so I'm in. Even though I'm very disappointed in her for dating Tom Cruise.
I know.
It's very disappointing.
I know, but he apparently he trained for a year and performed over 500 skydives and 13. Here's the thing. I don't care. I don't care that this like 50, almost 60-year-old dude is doing his own stunts. Get a fucking stunt man, bro.
Yeah, who care. Was it Danny Trejo? You know who Danny Trejo is, right?
Yeah.
Biggest, scariest looking motherfucker ever.
Yeah.
Like actually been in prison before he did films, right?
Yeah. Actual banger.
Yeah. Somebody asked him why he doesn't do his own stunts, and he's like, "Because that's not my fucking job." He's like, "I'm not going to take that job away from somebody."
Exactly.
He's like, "They're stunt people for a reason," and he's like, "That's not my job. They're trained for it. They're better at it, and it's their actual job. They get paid to do that. Why would I take that away from somebody?"
Exactly.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Dude, I love it. Everything I see about that dude, I like every time I hear him talk or anything else. There's a documentary about him, I think. Oddly enough, that I'm going to try and. October 7th. There's a couple other. No, that's it. October 7th, we got Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Yep.
Saw the preview for that before Sing 2. It looks real good.
Yeah, it looks cool. Yeah, that one I might actually see in the theater.
Yeah, like that one. The girls and I'll go see that one because they're both like stoked on that.
Yeah.
And here we go. October 14th, Halloween Ends. It's marking the end of the kind of modern trilogy here. Don't really care.
I haven't watched the first two. Like I need to find them because I'm actually curious about them, but I'm not going to pay to go see it in the theater. I know they were on, at least the first one was on, or second one I think was on Peacock, I think, for a little while.
November 4th, The Flash.
It's another one I'm going to need trailers for. He was actually, to me, was the best part of the Justice League.
Yep.
And this one has all the crossovers, right? This is the whole multiverse.
Yeah,
DC one, right?
So all they're confirming right here is that you're going to get Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton.
Yep.
But in the picture that they've got for the Flash right here on the little list I'm looking at, you've got Ezra Miller front and center in his Flash uniform, and in the background there's another dude with a yellow lightning bolt on his chest. and then a girl back behind, off to the other side there that looks like she's in red. So it looks like we get multiple flashes and things like that. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, they've done that in the Flash comic book too, or Flash TV series too. But you could do Kid Flash or Bart Allen or something like that.
Yeah.
Or Reverse Flash if you need a villain. So we'll see what they do there. It'd be interesting. Like I said, I need to see a good trailer for it.
Yeah.
I actually really liked the Flash comics when I was a kid, but I don't know that I care yet or not.
Okay. It's confirmed with this next one. They are going to launch Young Avengers.
Okay.
It's going to happen because on November 11th, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is slated to come out.
Mm-hmm.
Coogler's directing this one too. Majority of the cast returning, and Lupita Nyong'o, Letitia Wright, Danae Gura, Angela Bassett, Winston Duke, and Michaela Cole, and Dominique Thorne as the young hero Ironheart.
Yes, well, she's getting her own series. So Ironheart is going to be a series.
Oh, it's going to be a series. Okay.
And they've said that in that series, they're going to have Obadiah Stane's son or daughter. I don't think they've ironed out which one it is yet.
Oh,
but
cool.
the child of Obadiah Stane is going to be an Ironheart.
Nice.
Yeah, so we'll see what that brings around. That's interesting.
And after that, then that I'm excited for that. That should still be good. I'm excited to see how they handle it and how they tackle it and who becomes a Panther now.
And I love the rest of the cast. It's not like it was. I mean, Chadwick Boseman was perfect. Like, he was great, and he's obviously going to be missed. But there's enough there that if they replace him, they can do it in a respectful way.
Letitia Wright, Suri, like,
I think she's the one. But if they decided to go with Winston Duke, I'd be okay with that too.
Yeah,
I like him a lot.
I wouldn't hate it. We actually watched Black Panther the other night, and my favorite is still friggin' M'Baku.
We're gonna feed you to my children.
No, we are vegetarians. I just that whole little exchange is perfect.
Hilarious.
And just how dismissive they are of Agent What's His Bucket.
Yeah.
All of them, all the, like, how Suri keeps calling him a colonizer, like the whole thing. And that's what's so funny to me. I don't want to say funny, but interesting about that movie is how they all, portrayed those attitudes towards white people, if you will. Yet at the same time, we're so against doing exactly what Killmonger wanted to do.
Yeah.
And what his, there's this underlying current there that they feel it and they say it, but they didn't want to move to action. Anyway, we could talk. That's another movie we could pick apart forever.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, baby. This is the one you've been waiting for. December 16th. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom.
That's an interesting weekend because supposedly Avatar 2 is scheduled to the same time.
Yep.
So that's a battle that I expect DC to lose.
Oh, yeah. There's no way they don't. Amber Heard is back as Mira. Patrick Wilson with Ocean Master.
Yeah.
Black Manta is going to be the bad guy. Dolph Lundgren, because apparently we need him again.
Yeah, you always need Dolph Lundgren.
And a couple other people. I'm not going to see it in the theater.
I'll catch it on HBO.
Exactly. Yeah. And then that same weekend, like you say, Avatar 2. I have a feeling the Space Marines are coming back.
Yeah. Give me a good trailer, and I might actually see that one in the theater. But exactly. I need a trailer to blow me away. It's been so long that I need to see that trailer to really win me over.
And December 21st, we have the Untitled Mario movie.
And it's animated.
I don't know how much I care that it's animated or not animated. As an Italian American, I really don't like the way Chris Pratt, who's the farthest thing from an Italian, being cast as the Italian plumber. It's offensive. It's a little culturally appropriative.
I like Chris Pratt a lot. I just don't think that it made any sense.
No, whatsoever. I don't. I mean, there's other interesting cast in this thing. You know, Seth Rogen is Donkey Kong, Jack Black is Bowser, Charlie Day's Luigi, Anya Taylor-Joy is Peach, and Keegan-Michael Key is Toad. You know, I think part of this is assuming that like 80% of the viewing public actually knows who some of these extra characters are, like Toad,
and the actors.
Yeah,
like they're marketing the people and not the property.
Then 23rd. Won't see it in the theaters, but this sounds good. The same director who directed Harriet is directing I Want to Dance with Somebody. It is the first completely authorized Whitney Houston biopic. Yeah, no, I'm good.
Definitely won't see it in the theater, but it's an interesting idea.
Let's see. Okay, then we've got Babylon on Christmas. It's, you know, Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, Tobey Maguire, Olivia Wilde, and Spike Jonze are co-directing it, and a deep bench from Gene Smart to Flea. They're pushing it because for the COVID stuff, so they get some Oscar takeout.
Yeah.
And then, so that's all that's planned. Then we got like the kind of undated ones here. We got Knives Out 2.
Yeah.
Is going to be out. I can't wait for that one. Interesting. Catherine Hahn, Dave Bautista, Ed Norton, Ethan Hawke, Leslie Odom Jr., Kate Hudson, Janelle Monáe, Jada Pinkett. I'm in.
Yeah, I'll watch it for sure.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's already filmed. Interesting. It's a Netflix movie. We could get this on TV because it's a Netflix movie.
Oh, yes, yeah, I would definitely watch that.
Yeah, and it's already wrapped filming, so that's good. Huh. Let's see. Undated is Martin Scorsese crime drama called Killers of the Flower Moon. There's some other stuff in there that's,
and I'm sure there'll be some surprises as the year goes on. But yeah, that's the big stuff, and I'm excited for some, not so much some of the others, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it should be a pretty good year for movies, like, especially on the nerd front.
Yeah,
there's a lot to play with. Like, if nothing else, just the 2 Marvel titles with the Multiverse of Madness and Thor: Love and Thunder. Those 2 alone.
Yeah, that makes for a good little year for Marvel, and then all their TV shows sprinkled in.
Yeah. Oh, there's the big yawn.
Yeah, I'm a big boy. I yawn big.
All right, it is bedtime for you. We've made it through.
It is.
Look at us. We did a show, just the 2 of us.
Just the 2 of us, and it's obviously going to be super interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We bring the energy.
So, it's... oh, yeah, this has been the high energy laugh fest that you've come to know and expect from us.
Exactly. Cool. So
we'll discuss next week.
Yeah, we'll figure out next week, and then go from there. Maybe we'll even do 3 or 4 weeks in a row.
Yes, that's what we're trying for.
That'd be crazy.
So if you're listening out there, you've seen that we do this on Zoom. If you want to be on the show and tell us how we're stupid and wrong, drop us a line on Facebook. Why not? You know, like my buddies from high school that were on before were also kind of listeners, and so, you know, if you have an opinion, come on.
Yeah,
tell us about it.
Bring it on. We'll tell you why your opinion's dumb. I don't have a problem with that.
Stupid cunts. Ooh, I just said the C word. Hello,
stupid listeners.
Too late.
Cool. Yeah. So. Yeah. So
it's hit the time where it's late for me that it's become early for you.
Yeah. I got to go to bed and probably get 3 hours of sleep, but I power nap before we recorded, so I got an hour and a half in there. So
good. And yes, faithful listeners, we are going to talk about that at the end of every goddamn show.
Mm-hmm.
Because it must be noted that Kevin is up at 3:30 in the morning right now for your entertainment. He could be having
punishment,
yeah, depending on how you want it. Whatever you're into. 50 Shades of Kev.
Yeah. I'm here. So
All right.
cool. All right. Well, yeah. Thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading, and thank you for watching, or doing none of those things and just hitting play and walking away. Whatever it takes, we'll take it. And we will talk to you next week and beyond.
Deuces. Yeah. All right. So would you like to perform the duties of host this evening?
I can. I don't know that I'll do a good job.
Oh. Oh, that's just mean. So Brendan Fraser has a movie coming out. It's undated as of yet, but he's kind of making his big screen debut. He stars as a 600-pound man attempting to reconnect with his 17-year-old daughter in a Darren Aronofsky film.
That's a weird whole setup.
Well, yeah, it was just like lots of makeup and prosthetics, but the worst part is it's like The Whale undated, and they found like the most unflattering fat picture of Brendan Fraser they could find.
Well, it's just weird. It's Aronofsky too. Like, it's going to be a weird ass movie.
Yeah, well, it's based on a play.